Am I starting? Hello. Okay.
Welcome back. This is going to be our second horsemanship session that is in support of and congruent with our Dancing with Horses material that Joanna has been leading us through. My name is Alyssa Mayer. I'm a somatic educator for horses and riders, and sometimes dancers and other athletes who have nothing to do with horses. So what I teach is about communication and mind-body integration. So we're going to be doing a horsemanship-focused session here this afternoon with Paula and a horse that I have yet to meet. So Paula, if you could introduce yourself and this lovely horse that we'll be getting to work with today, and let me know just a little bit about your history with this horse, and then also what it is that you're hoping to get out of this session today.
Okay, great. Well, hi. This is Garnet, and a little bit of his history. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 years ago that he and 2 other horses came over from Idaho. That we needed to buy some more horses, and we found these guys, and so he's relatively new to Dunrovin and has been used some. As far as my relationship with him, and he's a Tennessee Walker, all the horses here are. And as far as my relationship with him, I only started working with him this summer, and I want to say maybe 10 times that we've been together. That I've ridden him, mostly in this activity this program that we do on Tuesday mornings, usually called Horsing Around, and a lot of that was training on being around horses, and then finally saddling and getting in the arena and doing some drill team, which I actually love. And it turns out the Garnet is pretty good at. So, or we are pretty good at, I guess it would be. And then the last few times with the Horsing Around series, we've been just kind of playing with these soccer balls. They're like this big, and just playing around and working with your horse in that sort of fine tuning way of trying to just get them to do a single thing that they've probably never done before. I'm pretty sure Garnet had never seen a soccer ball before. So, but the first few times, we actually did. I didn't have any problems with him on the mounting block, but the last, easily 6 out of the 8 or 9 or however many times we've saddled up, I can't get him to hold still. He mostly, and I was watching your training with Ant yesterday, and I have seen how Mystery does respond a lot less cooperatively for Ant, and that was actually really a good moment that they had. But Garnet's resistance, I feel like maybe I'm looking for even more steadiness from him. Because all you'll see, but I assume he just tends to like lean back and then finally step away. And so I've been trying to catch it before he even gets his weight off the front. And I don't know, it's just getting worse, it seems. So I've tried a number of. No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you could also just tell me briefly your riding experience. Are you new to riding? Are you super confident?
I'm fairly confident, cautious, respectful, confident. I rode when I was a kid in like summer camp and all that good stuff, and then have been out here at Dunrovin for at least 10 years now. For the first 7, I rode another horse who has passed on, and that was in 2018. And I didn't ride at all last year. I rode a little bit the rest of that summer, but not much. I just couldn't get out here. I don't know. It was emotional. And last year was a combination of still sort of not being ready, but just having a different focus. I chose to focus on something other than horseback riding last summer. And but by participating in the horsing around thing and being introduced to Garnet or choosing Garnet as a new horse to get to know, I'm enjoying it again, but we are having some problems. So we can't. Sort of changes everything.
So
I've been riding here. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's plenty of information for me to go on, and because we only have an hour here, I just don't want to interrupt. So I'd like to start by just saying something similar to what I probably said yesterday in the other session we did, which is that there are really only two reasons that a horse would not stand perfectly at the mounting block. One is that they don't understand that that's what they're supposed to do, so they can't really do it for you because they don't know that it's their job. The other is that they do understand that that's what you're asking them to do or expecting them to do, and they don't want to do it for some reason. So I would say most of the time, the reason they don't do it is because they don't understand. So that falls to us as the human to explain it to them as best we can so that a misunderstanding is not a factor. And then once we've done that, if they still have a problem, then we have to figure out, are they uncomfortable? Are they afraid? Do they just not like us? Like, what is it? And then try and fix that. So there's a real quick and easy way that we can test some of those things. So one of them is, can you just let go of his bridle and see what happens? Good. So it's not that he doesn't like you or doesn't want to be near you. Check that one off the list, right? Otherwise, the moment you let go, he would have taken the opportunity to leave, right? So that's pretty easy to test. So that's something that I recommend you do frequently when you're doing any kind of training or working with horses, is give them freedom periodically. And of course, you don't have to let them completely loose if you're not in a safe situation where that would be okay, like this arena. But you can put them on a long rein or give them extra slack or something so that the horse can tell us how they're feeling in that moment. Are they calm or not? Do they want to be with you or not? Do they need more space? Do they need to move their feet? Whatever they're feeling, they will usually show us. Not 100% of the time. Of course, some horses will hide what they're feeling, but for the most part, their behavior will tell us what they're feeling if we give them the opportunity to show us. And that's really useful because then that allows us to help them with what's going on. If we don't know what's going on for them, it's very challenging. Then we're just sort of throwing techniques and things at them blindly, hoping that something fixes it, right?
Wow, you're kind of cutting out a lot. I'm sorry.
Oh, good to know. It may be my internet here. Or,
it looks like someone's playing the keyboards.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
If I speak more slowly, does that help?
Well, that whole sentence came through.
So I just sound weird. Okay, well, flag me down if you can't understand me, and I'll try and repeat it. Okay?
Okay.
So without actually mounting him, can you just show me what usually happens? So go through all the steps of about to get on it. Just like you would.
Go ahead and take him to the block and... Okay.
Yes.
Well, the last thing, maybe something else I should say. You know, you can see that he's wearing these sunnies, we call them, you know. He developed a case of moon blindness in his left eye. Yeah, his left eye. And so, of course, he has to wear these all the time. My understanding is he's not fully incapacitated on that side, and the other side is fine. But there that is.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Oh, good boy. Good boy. See, I was leaning, yeah, so as soon as I just start putting myself in position, oh.
So instead of fixing that the next time he starts to move or lean, why don't you go ahead and step up on the block and let's let him move away if he wants to, because I'd like to see what that looks like.
So should I try to reposition him and then step up and see what that looks, or leave him where he is?
Yeah, let him walk away, come back, reposition him, step up on the block, but this time just let him do whatever he's going to do so I can see it.
Okay. Good boy.
You just do your thing, great, and just let me see it. Let's just give him a moment, see how far he goes. So he doesn't look scared. He doesn't look like he wants to get away from you personally. So this could, to me, looks like something that it might be something as simple as he happened to move away one time and he found comfort there, so now he just does it like as a habit. Or it could be that if he's mostly blind in his left eye, he can't really see you when he's lined up with the block. But when he backs out to about right there, you just barely make it out of his blind spot, and now he can see you with his right eye. So it could be something as simple as that. So that brings me to a question, and that's that, do you guys always mount from the left, or do you practice both sides?
I would say 90 to 95% of the time from the right side, from the left side.
The left, here, the normal side.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a really great example of why it's a good idea to practice mounting and dismounting for both the right and the left, and to teach your horses to be comfortable with that, because sometimes it's necessary or super useful to be able to do things from the offside. Another situation is like if you're out trail riding and you're on a really steep slope or something and you need to get off, it's really handy to know that your horse isn't going to freak out because you've never tried getting on or off from the right,
Right.
So that's something that
and I would say with him, I have never tried that with him yet.
Right. So you don't want to try it for the first time and just see how badly it goes, right? So we're not going to do that. No, even though he is compromised in that he doesn't have great vision out on the left side, we can still help him be okay with it. And I think that would probably be the most useful thing for me to help you with, is to help him be okay with it on the left, since that's how you guys usually do it. So I can't quite tell from the camera angle, but it looks like he's still kind of lined up with the block. He just backed away. Is that right?
No, if the block is at 6 o'clock, he's standing at about 1:30 or 2.
Okay. That's fine. So here's what I think will help. So let's just do a real simple kind of like break this into baby steps for him. Can you ask him to take just one step closer to the block and then leave him alone?
Good boy.
Yeah. And don't hold his bridle. Oh, I was going to say stay there, but you're already moving.
Well, as you said, lead him off, so sorry.
Oh, I said leave him alone, but this is fine also.
Oh, okay.
No problem. So take him all the way into your mounting position, and then leave him alone, and let's see if he backs away again, or if he stays the same, or if he does something different.
Oh, good boy. Good boy.
And then step up there and just let him do what he needs to do.
Exactly the same. Back
I
and
think it's related to his vision.
away.
Watching this. Because he doesn't just move away, he moves away and turns exactly as far as he needs to for you to be visible in his right eye. So that looks pretty clear to me as why he might be doing this. So we're going to have to.
And I'll say I've never tried this. I've never seen what he wants,
Right.
Yeah.
And you can see, I think, exactly why I do this and why I think this is important. It's so that we can get the feedback and troubleshoot it. Because without this information, we would maybe think he was being disobedient, right? You can't hear me.
Right. Well, when I did that, I couldn't. It comes in and out. I don't know. We'll just deal with it.
Joy's technology. Okay. So now you know why he's doing that. So now I'm going to try and think of ways to help him feel more comfortable and confident even when he can't see you. So that's what we're going to try to help him with. So try and ask him to move one step closer to the block and then leave him there. Don't lead him off. Leave him there after you take one step.
Wait, there's a little animal.
Okay. What a good horse.
Good boy. One step forward and then let go.
One step forward and then let go. Yeah.
Okay.
And now walk around to his good side, his right side, and love on him. Give him some rub, but make sure he can see you. And just pet him. Even if he moves, just keep going. Just go pet him. Just go pet him. Just go pet him.
Boy. Good boy.
Just get in there and pet him.
Good boy.
Yeah. Now give him a rub, and then just drop your hands and stand there.
Good boy.
So, have you ever heard a trainer tell you pressure motivates and the release teaches, or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is not a training technique that I completely subscribe to. However, it does work. The reason I don't use that most of the time is that you can only use a release if you first apply pressure. And I don't like to use pressure as my go-to way to communicate. I will use it when it's appropriate or when I think it will help explain something to the horse. But I don't want to have to put on pressure just so I can release to teach the horse something.
I understand.
However, when you went to approach him to rub him and he backed away from you, he was maybe feeling some pressure from your approach. And when you hesitated and didn't follow him, that is giving him a release from that pressure that he perceived, even though you weren't intending to put pressure on, right? So in that situation where he is receiving pressure, if you release at the wrong time, you are teaching him something about that. Okay. So if your intention is to get in there and give him a good scratch and he's misreading you and backing away, in order to explain that to him, it's best if you continue to approach him as long as he's not completely freaking out, so that he can have the experience of you're not approaching with pressure. He just maybe misread it. But when you get there, then you prove to him, I was approaching you so I could scratch you. See, I'm scratching you now. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So if he backs away, keep approaching him. But there is one caveat here. If he's backing away and perceiving pressure from your approach, I want you to double check yourself without stopping what you're doing and make sure you're not accidentally projecting a bunch of pressure that you don't mean to be doing.
Got it.
And that means many things to many people. So it's challenging to kind of rate your own energy or sort of diagnose your own energetic projection that the horse might be reading while you're in the midst of an exercise. So I have a really easy trick that will help make sure you're soft and deactivated when you're approaching a horse to rub. Would you like to learn it?
Sure.
It's completely ridiculous. And I know you're being filmed right now and people are watching, but just know that this is going to help lots of people and lots of horses. And I know you're game or you wouldn't be here. Okay.
Right.
So what I want you to do as you approach him, and then I want you to do it even more if he backs away and misreads you so that you can exaggerate what you're doing to show him and prove to him that you are friendly, is I want you to imagine that you're a Labrador puppy and I want you to wag your tail and actually do it with your tailbone. Yes. Did you guys see his ears flicker forward when she did that? It's almost impossible to project intense predatory energy. Look at the horse. When you're wagging your butt and you feel absolutely ridiculous, it's really hard to look threatening and to feel threatening and to accidentally project too much focus at your horse, right? So when you do that, that is a pretty clear signal to the horse. I'm coming in silly and friendly and I'm just going to love on you. And that will help him read you accurately. Okay? Now that you have this amazing new tool in your toolbox, we're going to go back to the exercise. Yeah, get in there and rub him. And then he'll be like, okay, you are as silly as you look. And you don't have to keep doing it once you get there unless you want to. So after you've loved on him for a good little while, and you feel soft and connected and feel like he really understands that that was your plan, so that you guys are sharing this idea, I want you to lead him a step or two back toward the block and then just go back around and rub him some more. Just a little bit. That's good. He doesn't have to be lined up. And then get in there and rub him on that good side again. And just kind of push his nose out of the way if he gets in your way. Just kind of friendly nudge him out of the way. Get in there and rub him. Yeah, he's going to think you're nuts at first, but that's fine. Good. You guys know that when a horse drops their head and neck like that, it's a sign of relaxation, right? And he's even yawning. Yep. Even bigger sign of not necessarily relaxation, but the sign usually that they're shifting from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system, which means they're coming out of fight or flight. That's a really good sign when you're trying to build confidence in a horse. Beautiful. So we're just going to keep doing this and creep closer and closer to the mounting block. But it's not really about the mounting block. This is really more about you guys reading each other and being on the same page so you can be a better team and have more trust between you. Great.
Good boy.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good boy. And
I like that you're saying good boy in this friendly moment that you're having with him. I actually often ask people not to do that so much with most horses because I think it detracts from actually doing the good boy in your body and in your intention, because when we say the words, we think we've said it, when in fact the horse may not see that in our entire being. But with a horse who's visually compromised, using your voice is extra helpful, right?
I have been trying to use my voice because of that in when I'm on him and just in general. Yeah.
And there's also something that changes inside you. When you say good boy and you smile, it changes your own physiology and your own internal state, and horses can pick up on that. Beautiful. Yeah, get in there, love on him.
Oh.
And if he moves, it's fine, because he might just not be quite ready to have that obstacle in his blind spot.
Right.
So this time we're going to help him with that. Okay, so rub on him while I'm talking, and then you'll go to do what I'm going to explain. So when you're done rubbing on him, I want you to actually kind of keep rubbing on him, but rub your way around to his other side. Try not to trip over the mounting block when you do that, but you've got to get over to the other side. You're going to invite him to move his head toward you so he can see the block out of his good eye.
So go in front of him.
Yeah, so walk around his head, but kind of keep rubbing and wagging your tail as you move so that the feel doesn't change.
Good boy. Am I going around it?
Get on the other side of the block. You can step over it if you need to. Like step up on it, get to the other side, whatever. And then love on him some more over here. And then at some point here, pick up that rein that's close to you and draw his nose around so he bends his nose around toward you until he can see the block out of his good eye. So take a little step back away from his head because you're a little too close to his head with your body. Yeah, now ask him to come to you. There you go. And if he moves his feet, that's fine. We just want to make sure he can see the block there. And that's plenty. He can see it now. So then just drop the rein and love on him again. Because this is about you and him, not about the block, really.
Garnet. Yeah, Garnet.
And then at some point, take him over and line him up with the block again. And this time, go all the way to lining him up, as long as he feels willing to do that. So we're just kind of like chipping away at the edges of what makes him uncomfortable and replacing it with friendship and love and trust and this nice feeling between you. And now from where you are, love on him. Yeah. And definitely when you're on his left side, use your voice even more. Because your voice and your touch is what's going to tell him where you are.
Good boy. Yeah, Garnet.
Does he have a favorite scratchy spot?
That's where I am right now.
Okay, good. Love it. When their head bobbles like that, that's a good sign of relaxation as well. It means they're not holding a lot of tension in their neck, because some horses they'll do what you say and then they kind of freeze there and they're sort of bottling up their fear. So if their head kind of wiggles like that, then usually they're not as braced as they can sometimes pretend to be.
Mm-hmm.
So after another 10 seconds or so, just drop your arms and take a pause. And then just move a little bit more toward your mounting position, but don't actually step up on the block yet. Just get a little closer to that side of the saddle and start loving on him again. And while you're loving on him, as long as he's still relaxed, I want you to accidentally, on purpose, bump the mounting block with your boot so he can hear it. It's the same sound as if you stepped up on it, but you're just going to knock into it. And just do it a couple times, like bumple it, and keep rubbing on it. As if it didn't happen. And let's see what he thinks of that. Right. So then suddenly he's like, oh, there's a thing next to you. Let me get a look at it. Right? Good. So he's been allowed to look at it. Now invite him to come back into position. So he's not wrong. There's no right or wrong here. It's just like he needed that. Now you need him to do his part of the partnership, which is line up for you. You guys are going to go back and forth between what you ask and what he needs. Good.
Good boy. Good boy.
And as long as he's fairly calm and able to stand there with you, you can start to move a little quicker to getting into position and bumping onto the block. And the trick here is to kind of progress this at the speed that he can handle without him having to leave or leave too much. So that's where the art of horse training comes in, is you're the one there with him. So you're the trainer, Paula. So you've got to read him and you've got to judge moment by moment, how much can he handle, and give him exactly what he can handle, so that it's enough that he's like, whoa, what's that? But it's not enough that he's like, it's too much, I have to leave. That's the sweet spot for teaching and training horses. And the nice thing about doing things slowly like this and really listening to your horse is that he will tell you if it's too much. You don't need me to tell you if it's too much, because he'll back away, right? So your horse can actually become your coach in this kind of training. And he seemed really okay with it that time, didn't he? He didn't seem to back away at all. Now he's sort of doing it, but maybe that's just because we talked too long. But that was interesting. He just took one teeny little step backward. So why don't you ask him to take one teeny little step forward now that you've had a moment there and given him the opportunity to do what he needed to do. And inside you, Paula, I want there to be zero right or wrong, success or failure, good or bad. There shouldn't be any of that judgment. Because at the end of the day, you're getting to hang out with the horse. So this is awesome no matter how this goes, in my book.
Right. We get so hung up on doing things right, or having good timing, or ending on a good note, or, getting this done so we can go do the next thing that is on the agenda, that we lose that. I mean, that quality of, it's just awesome to be with the horse. And that's what they care about. Right. Well, and I want to comment on the ending on a good note thing. And I've been told that, always. And I was here yesterday off camera while you were helping Aunt, and we literally did this for an hour and a half because I was waiting for a good note to end on.
Isn't that terrible?
And it's like, well, you can't leave until something good happens. And, but I guess, good can be subjective. If you lower your standard for good,
Right. Well,
I mean, this is good. This is
fantastic, right? But so I have a solution for this. Is actually one of the things that I am motivated to change across the industry and across the instruction and horse training world, because so many of us, myself included, have felt trapped by that rule of you have to end on a good note or everything you just did is a complete waste, right? That's really stressful, and it just doesn't work because we usually miss the first good note, and then trying to get back there takes an extra hour that we may or may not have, which totally screws up our schedule, and we get super frustrated. And anyway, so I have a really easy solution for that, and you're actually already doing it. Can you hear me again?
Yeah.
Okay. So the number one priority in all of my horse training and horse activities and stuff that I do and that I teach is to foster the connection between you and the horse. That's number one. And that's what you're doing by, not letting yourself judge right or wrong, by just being there and giving him what he needs, by spending all this time snuggling. You're showing the horse that you care about him and you care about the connection between you more than the training exercise or the success by someone else's judge of success. So that becomes an amazingly good note that is underneath everything else that we're doing. So you can always come back to this place of it's really just all about connection, trust, you and me, buddy, and building that. So the training exercise can go to hell in a handbasket and get really, really bad, you know, like, and you cannot achieve the training exercise of the day. But as long as you can come back to this place of like mutual connection and harmony, where at least you and he are good, that's a good note you can end on at any point in the session. Because
that's a good day. Yeah.
And work on technique, you know? You can always come back and try to get deeper understanding of an exercise or try to figure out why something isn't working, as long as you have that connection that you're really feeding and fostering the whole time. And then at any point, you can start the session, rub your horse, and call it a good note.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And what we are doing is a lot of what I've been doing, like breaking it down into smaller steps. I've been coming over to his side, just rubbing, coming back, you know, putting my foot on, coming back, you know, gradually working up the block, not even getting on, playing with the saddle, like the things I would do once I'm ready to get on, preparing the reins, you know, and just each thing once and then not, and then going back to it. You know, I've been trying to break it down, and, you know, I mean, eventually, and I've been doing other things like, not really trapping him, but, you know, putting us against the rail, putting the rail space and then the block, and so that he can't leave, you know, or putting his butt against the rail so that he can't back up.
Right.
You know, yeah. But it's all that other goal oriented, you know, yeah.
That's not super different from what we've been doing so far, except without the trapping elements to help you position, right?
I know. As soon as I said the word, I was like, oh, God.
It's really important because if he doesn't back away just because something's blocking him, he's not actually changing or learning or growing, right? So then you're not fixing the problem long term. But that is actually, in a sense, the next step of this exercise. But I'm going to show you how to do it without using external tools to trap him. Okay, we're going to help him solve this. So what I'd like you to do is take him for a walk, come back and park him here just like you are doing. And then you're going to get back up on the block, and we're going to go to kind of a new version of this.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
First, get in there and rub on him like you did before. And while you're doing that, pick up that rein so you have it in your hand, but let him back away. So hold just one rein. You have split reins, right? So hold just the one closest to you, like a lead rope. Yeah. And get on up there and let him back away, but keep the rein. And let him go all the way to the end of the rein if he wants to. Who cares? Just you keep it. Can you pull it off his neck so you can keep it without falling off the block? Yes. Now he can back away as much as he needs to and let him. So give him slack. Yeah. Oh, good.
I know.
So now keep the friendly, tail wagging, awesome feeling, even though you're not going to actually walk up to him. And with that feeling in you, using your rein and your voice cues, invite him to come back toward you, 1 step or 2 steps, whatever he can do.
Good boy. Good boy.
And let's see how much he can do. Great.
Good boy.
And then a solid 60 seconds of loving on him. with a loose rein so you're not holding him close to you. He has the freedom to back away if he needs to.
Good boy.
And then repeat that when you're ready, using your waggy tail awesome energy, your mental picture of what it looks like if he does your idea, and then use your rein and your voice to invite him to take a step forward.
Good boy. Good boy. More.
One's enough. Be happy with small steps.
Yeah.
Give it a rest. So because you're up on that block, you're in a kind of precarious position. So I have a suggestion for how you're using that rein. Put it in your other hand.
I'm in a what?
Put the rein in your other hand. A precarious position.
I'm up on the block.
Right?
All I heard was I'm up on the block on something.
Same for me. So I want you to make 2 tools out of your rein. Can you hear me now?
No.
Okay. I'm going to keep talking and you let me know when it sounds understandable. Okay. So I want you to make 2 tools out of your nice long rein. I want you to hold halfway down it in your left hand and hold the leather part in your right hand. Good. Now get a little closer to his mouth with your left hand, other way. Yeah. And then let the leather part dangle down a little bit so you can twirl it around if you need to. Yeah. So now you have a lead rope in your left hand and a twirly tool in your right hand. And you can adjust the length as needed depending on how far he is from you, right? So now you can stay nice and straight on your mounting block without leaning. And you can use one hand to draw him forward and use the other hand to generate energy kind of aimed at the saddle, which will help push him forward if he's feeling sticky. Does that make sense? And swish your tail over toward his tail or toward the saddle. Good. And now stop and regroup. Stop, Paula, stop. And just hang out. It's fine for him to do that. He needs some space because you put out some energy and pressure that time that you weren't doing before, right? So that's his response to it, and that's fine.
Yeah, his head is now completely like half out of his mouth.
Okay, well, you can go over there with your tail wagging and fix it for him.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
So that's great that you noticed that, and that is something I want to share. So if you pull harder on that rein, it pulls the bit out of his mouth, but it doesn't actually cause him to move, right? So only pull as hard as you need to give him the information. Yeah. Let me know when you can understand me.
No. No.
No. Well, you can always go pet your horse.
I got nothing.
Okay. I think I'll just
There,
have
I got
to
okay.
talk until you understand me. Okay. There must have been a cloud passing over me or something.
Okay, you're back.
No. Okay. So when you're using that rein to lead him, you can only pull as hard as it won't pull the bit out of his mouth.
Sure.
Okay. And you don't need to pull harder than that. He knows that you've picked up the rein. He can feel it. Okay. So
Right.
if you need to add pressure, add it with your tail, the other end of the rein that you can flick out toward his body. So you'll
That seems to
never
make
get
him back up.
his mouth. Well, it just gets him to move. And
Right.
the direction he moves will either
for sure.
be, he'll either move in the direction you've asked him, if he can, or he'll move in the direction he needs to go. And either one is fine
No.
because it gives us information.
I can't hear you.
This is.
I mean, it's like every eighth word. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure what we can do about that.
I don't know. I don't know either. I mean, we're lucky in a way, but there we go.
Right. Okay. Well, it suddenly got clearer for me. Can you hear me again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he may back up or he may follow your invitation. Either one is fine. So let's just try it. Can you go over and stand by his shoulder? His left. Yeah. But not too close. Good. And if he needs you to rub him, rub him. So let's practice. Put a gentle feeling on the rein as if you were leading him forward like you did on the mounting block. And if that's not enough, use the tail of your rein to tap on his shoulder. So you'll need to switch hands.
Ooh, good boy.
Sure.
Good boy. Yeah.
And then with your tail wagging, work your way back up onto the block.
Yeah. Good boy.
Very good.
Garnet. Good boy.
Can you get back on the block at some point, Paula?
Yeah, I'm
okay. I just wasn't sure if you heard me or if you're just taking time. So definitely take your own time.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Good boy.
And I know you're really hoping that he stands there for you, but don't let that hope turn into a right or a wrong. Give him some rubs, even if he's moving, just rub him. So he knows where you are. You're in it together. If he needs to move and see you, great.
Good boy.
Now this time, don't leave him out there very long. If you can do it from the block, great. If you need to step down, great, but put him back in position. Do whatever you guys can do to get him back in position. You can try it my way, or you can try it your way. Yes, good, excellent. But not too much, not too much. Give him a break. You feel that he needs a break? Relax your right arm.
Yeah.
It's still active. Put your right arm down and wag your tail. Whole thing. Wag everything, because you got kind of intense there. There you go. Suddenly he's like, oh, I can come back a little. So it's really important that once you ask him to do something and you use pressure, that you don't leave the pressure on. Even if he doesn't do what you want, you've got to take the pressure off. Beautiful.
Good boy. Good boy.
If he needs help, help him with your other hand. And I would suggest you use it kind of toward his shoulder. Yeah, doesn't matter if it works. It just matters that you're asking and then letting him do what he needs to do. But again, don't leave him out there very long this time. Bring him back to the block, either from up there or step down if that makes more sense to both of you. But what I don't want you to do is get in a pressure fight with him. So when he tosses his head like that, don't do a tug of war with him.
Don't what?
Don't don't rise to the invitation to play tug of war, because he will win. Even if it's gentle like that, it's not effective. Okay, it's much more effective if you ask with your rein, tap him one time on the shoulder, and then put your hands down and see if it worked. But don't just hold it or he'll start holding against you. Ask him and let it go. Ask him. I would use the extra rein to touch his shoulder to unstick his feet and then let him go. Good. You might need to make it longer so you can reach without falling off the block. And to help mitigate potential frustration, it always is darkest before the dawn, right? When things get a little squirrely, that's usually when things are about to change.
Okay.
Okay, but don't spend a lot of time away from the block. Spend your snuggly time at the block.
Good boy.
Good. Are we still clear? Can you hear me while you're rubbing him? Because I want to explain something.
All right.
When you lift the rein to lead him and it doesn't work, we have to either...
When I lift the rein to what him?
To lead him, like when you lead him forward on the rein.
Yes.
So when you do that and it didn't work and he started bobbing his head around, we don't want to keep trying something that's not working. So we need to either stop and change our tactic or add a little something different to see if that helps him get the idea. He's a really sweet horse. He's just like, I'm doing my best for you over here. So what I think will help him not get stuck in that head bobbing kind of argumentative place is right before he gets there, it's pretty clear that he's not stepping forward. That's the moment that you could flick him on the shoulder with the other end of your rein, just to give him a little oomph, and he'll either come toward you or back away. It doesn't really matter where he goes. It just matters that you're not fighting with him and he's not stuck.
That I'm not fighting with him and that he's not what?
Not stuck, not digging his feet in. Okay? Because if he's unstuck, we can do something with that. If he digs in, we can't really train that. Like, there's nothing we can do that's nice in that moment. Right there. Did you feel that moment of resistance? If you were able to, that would have been the moment to tap his shoulder just to unstick him. Did you lose me again?
Yes.
Okay. You're doing great, Paula. So with the quality of our internet connection and the way it's broken up, I don't think I can really help you, and not with what this moment, like with this piece of the exercise that we're doing. Can you hear me again?
Yes.
And also we're now out of time, so I don't want to like push and try to give you even more to try to squeeze into the last like 1 minute that we have together. And it's not really necessary because you've got a nice loose rope on your horse. He's very happy to be there right next to you. You guys have made some progress in improving his ability to feel comfortable with you and the mounting block on his blind side. We discovered that that was probably his issue. So even though we didn't fix it in this session, we have learned a lot and you guys have made some progress in moving toward your solution. So from my perspective, that makes this a successful session and you are free to quit on a good note of just you guys being connected at any time. That being said, if you want to do this a little bit longer, I think that would be okay, even if I'm not here coaching you. If you just want to go back to the part of the exercise that was really successful, where you got it to where he could stand with you on the block without backing away, that would also be a beneficial thing to do right now if you guys have the time to do that, even though I have to sign off. And then just pick your favorite moment and you can quit right there.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you.
Even just with that, you can do that today, and then you could repeat that a couple of times, and that's going to get you each time 1 or 2 or 10 baby steps closer to him being able to stand for you there.
Great.
So unless you have a final question or comment, that is about all the time we have. I mean, I can stay on for another minute if you want to share with me. I love to hear kind of like the most kind of aha moment or insight that you maybe got out of our session.
Well, taking my focus away from the accomplishing something or some goal and putting it on him and working within the parameters that are there, and seeing what he's doing as a signal as opposed to resistance or any kind of the human emotions that we can tend to put on an animal of like judgment or I don't know, not wanting to, I'm sure that at some point that comes into play, like, okay, I'm really feeling like I'd rather have some hay, like, or I miss my buddies, like at the beginning he was checking out where everybody was, and, that was what was on his mind. So, I mean, that can happen, and feel like resistance or boredom or, something like that. And just acknowledging that those things happen and letting really the first, not putting the focus on the vocal, as much as on just and giving him his voice too. Like with this loose rain part.
Happen. Yeah. Those things do happen, but I find that they happen less. Am I broken up again?
No, I'm here. I'm with you.
Okay. Yeah. So those things do happen, like the being distracted by the other horses, kinds of things, but they happen less when you put your connection to this horse as the priority. Because then he feels that need to connect to his herd as being fulfilled because you're there connecting with him. So even if that and just letting go of some of the right and wrong internal feeling is all you get out of this session, that's pretty fantastic. But that was great. Thank you for that feedback. I'm happy to hear that, because that was very much some of what I wanted to share with you.
All right, good.
I had a bunch
so it got through.
ideas that I wanted to share that came out of our dancing session earlier, but that'll have to wait till tomorrow or another session. So if you think of other questions that you have, you can either save them and ask me tomorrow, or you can log on and put them on the chat on this lesson on the Days at Dunrovin Equine Celebration page, because I can check that and answer them there too, assuming my internet stays on. But this was really fun.
Right. Yeah, I guess you mentioned what we did this afternoon. There was some connection that you wanted to make. I don't understand. I wasn't sure. Yeah, we didn't get to it because I wanted to help you with this specific request that you had. But if just for fun to get you thinking of it, it was along the lines of what you were asking Joanna about breaking it down and like how do you actually go about explaining or doing this listening thing that she's trying to get you guys to do, the physical listening. And that has a very much a parallel concept to how I want you to break things down for your horse so that they can understand it, and also giving all of these pauses and the longer rope so that we can really build into our interaction this listening period where we allow the horse to tell us what they think and where they're at by their behavior. So this method of how I do that with horses in the horsemanship framework is totally relevant and useful when we're doing stuff
in the dancing with horses frameworks, even though we're not asking so much of them, it's very much about a conversation. So the dancing with them is an invitation and a conversation, and the training stuff can be an invitation and a conversation too.
Well, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Should I lick and chew? Will that help you understand that?
Yes. Chew on that for a while, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow.
Great. All right.
All right. You guys were awesome.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Well, what did you